It is amazing. Life, business, Wall Street, Main Street, sports. How often the great companies, they deserve credit, but have feasted on poorly run companies. In baseball, Ted Williams, Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, Derek Jeter, almost nobody hits the ace of the opposing staff. You live on the number 3 guy, the number 4 starter, the number 5 starter, the middle reliever, the second best closer. Because nobody really hits great pitching, right? Nobody really hits Clayton Kershaw. And even in sports and in business, the big dogs feast on the poorly run companies. Look at sports, for instance. I mean, that Warriors dynasty. You know why that was created? Because the historically irrelevant Minnesota Timberwolves took 2 guards before Steph Curry. 2 point guards. And a dynasty was created. And the poorly run Charlotte Hornets gave up Kobe Bryant for Vlade Divac, a bag of marbles, and an end table. And the Hornets are still irrelevant, and the Lakers got a dynasty out of it. The poorly run Miami Dolphins, their doctors said no to Drew Brees. Drew Brees is still in New Orleans, setting records. Portland passed on both Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant. They're now, one's a icon, one's a close to an icon, one had a dynasty. Warriors win this year, it's officially another dynasty. Carson Wentz should have gone to Cleveland, but a poorly run franchise, the Browns, passed him up. And now the Eagles, who have been relevant in the NFL for most of the last 50 years, are really, really good and Super Bowl champs. To be great, you deserve a lot of credit, but it's remarkable how often the great teams and the great businesses feast on poorly run contemporaries. And the story this morning, Peter King's column, he is being told by a source that Cleveland Browns general manager John Dorsey will not draft Sam Darnold. They'll draft Josh Allen. And who will benefit? The New York Giants, who have been relevant forever, who have 4 Super Bowl titles, they will absolutely take Sam Darnold. That's nothing against the Warriors, but they feasted on the T-Wolves. And nothing against the Bulls and Pippen, but they feasted on Seattle. Dynasties are created through hard work and mistakes of poorly run franchises. By the way, there's a real psychology here. Cleveland passed on Carson Wentz, and the Browns have very low sports self-esteem. Carson Wentz was a no-name kid, huge arm, great at the combine, big, tall, athletic. Carson Wentz is Josh Allen, except way better. And Cleveland passed on him and was mocked, and people lost jobs, and they were ridiculed. And Cleveland is now saying, we're not going to let it happen again. What quarterback in this draft shares the most characteristics with Carson Wentz, who they passed on? Josh Allen. But I will remind you, let's put Josh Allen and Sam Darnold's numbers next to each other. Yeah, Sam played with better people, but played a significantly tougher schedule. Completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio, passer rating, wins, loss, yards per attempt, it's not even close. It is not even close. This is your classic low sport self-esteem franchise passing on Carson Wentz and trying to make amends with Josh Allen. And it is absolutely remarkable in the history of sports. When you look at these dynasties, the Lakers with Kobe, the Warriors with Steph, how many teams, 23, passed on Aaron Rodgers? A lot of bad franchises that still don't have a quarterback. The decision here is a really easy one. And according to Peter King, John Dorsey's about to hand the New York Giants more Super Bowls. It's the way it generally works. Well-run teams, relevant franchises feast on poorly run franchises and irrelevant franchises. I started the show talking about this, is that what the media likes isn't what NFL coaches and GMs like. I mean, the media likes comeback stories and Marquette King and Colin Kaepernick and Johnny Manziel, and NFL locker rooms, it's not baseball. Time is everything. Disciplined. You got to be, dedicated. The things that an NFL GM coach want, the media is off in la-la land. What NFL coaches don't want is a social media star as a punter who's calling his own fakes and getting penalties in back-to-back games. No interest. Gruden got rid of Marquette King. The media thinks it's unbelievably frustrating that John Gruden would let go of a flamboyant social media star who's a punter. There's the lack of alignment between NFL media and NFL coaches is astounding. Like baseball's fun and quirky and goofy. There's no clock. There's 162 games. Every game's not urgent. The NBA, 82 regular season games. Stars rest regularly. NFL, you play hurt, always. Time is everything. Can't screw up a play. You forget half a second on one play. Flag! Offside. Flag! Illegal motion. It's a different sport, a different culture. But the people covering the NFL, they're on these storylines that don't align with the people who work in the NFL. So the Seahawks, everybody loved them. The Seahawks were loud and political and flamboyant, and Pete Carroll put his arms around him. And they had the 12th man. What is their identity now? They were 4-4 at home last year. Marshawn Lynch running downhill. They can't run the football. Worst running game in the NFL. Legion of Boom. Old and expensive. Not that scary. Seattle has no identity. You know why? Because Pete Carroll embraced loud, player-friendly, outspoken, contrarian, loose, political. He embraced the wrong thing years ago. Russell Wilson has always been the rock of this franchise. By the way, Russell Wilson has never been given a great deal of respect. I know because I read Twitter. Let me pass along a few things to remind you how good he is. He led the NFL in touchdown passes last year. Don't ask me how. They had the league's worst offensive line and no running game. He has the second highest passer rating in league history, the 8th highest winning percentage. He's never lost 3 games, and the highest fourth quarter passer rating in league history. Don't ask me how. He's never had an elite offensive line, and he's never even had an elite receiving core, although I did think Richardson, Doug Baldwin were pretty good, and I wish Jimmy Graham could still catch. I just want to remind you, the defense has always been given credit here, and Pete Carroll's always been given credit here. This has always been Russell Wilson, his team. Let me remind you what Pete Carroll was this is NFL, pre-Russell Wilson. Fired twice as a head coach, 7-9, 7-9 in Seattle. Post-Russell Wilson, 65-30-1, 2 Super Bowls, 1-1 could easily be 2-0. Pete Carroll, the fans and the media, embraced the fans' 12th man. Marshawn Lynch, Legion of Boom, loud, this, political, loose, contrarian. This is the rock of the franchise. Second highest all-time passer rating. 8th all-time winning percentage. Never lost 3 straight games. Inexplicably led the NFL in touchdown passes. I have no idea how. I have no idea. If you said Tom Brady's got the worst O-line in the league and no running game, I'm not sure Tom Brady would make it through October. Jared Goff, Matt Ryan wouldn't. Russell Wilson has never been fully embraced by this organization. Their GM this weekend said, we're not rebuilding, we're resetting. You're mostly rebuilding. The running game's gone, the O-line's atrocious. You just lost your deep threat. You gave away a pass rusher, a good disruptor to Philadelphia. You got some rebuilding to do. Whether it's your entire franchise or you're just your O-line, you have rebuilding to do. And can we finally embrace the guy who's really been the most important player? By the way, I get loving Richard Sherman. The soundbite years ago with Aaron Andrews, I understand it. Loud gets attention. Richard Sherman was good. I understand why the nation fell in love with Seattle. Richard screaming, Russell Wilson respectfully taking a knee at midfield, quiet, no reporters around him. One guy's now a Niner. One guy now is the only guy that can save Pete Carroll's job. 7-9, 7-9. Now 65-30. The one guy they never embraced is the one guy Pete now needs to save his job.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.